Now, when I'm back there, I'm calling, so in different conditions, you call different strokes or different counts or whatever like that. So when we're going across and going out like that, it's pretty standard. We just want everybody to stay in groove, you know, because it's pretty much warm up getting into the race. But when we went up north, what I changed out with my paddling was I could paddle. When I was going into the wave, I was paddling a lot more. I could switch sides a lot more because I was, and then just angle the canoe, slide over, you know, paddle. And it's pretty much more forward stroke. I wasn't doing much out here. It was more because the canoe, if the canoe is balanced, you got the people in the right spot, it can happen.
Talk about that. Go ahead and feel good to segue into the balance.
Yeah, because, I mean, and you have to play with the crew. I mean, everybody's shapes and sizes are different, you know, weights are different. So it's up to you to find where, and sometimes, you know, you don't have that luxury though. Coach says, this is who's going to sit here, this is going to sit here, da 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 da. And so you go out there and you think that's okay. The coach says that's the perfect position for everybody. But when you're on the water and you feel the boat, and it's all cool to feel. See, okay, no, I don't think so. But then you know, if you change guys around and you see that it works. I mean, I've changed people around all the time. From 1 back to 5, 5 up to 1. The middle guys change around to 2 and everything like that. Just to make it so that the boat runs good, straight, and you don't have to work that hard. And like I told you guys today, I don't want to work that hard, right?
No.
Right? You don't want to work that hard.
You made that very clear.
You don't want to work that hard. You want the crew to work, so your job is easy. And all you got to do, when your job is easy, you know what's happening? You're paddling.
Exactly.
Yep. And you're on course.
And you're on course. And you're paddling. And that's what you want to do. You want to paddle as much as you can. Right? So, going up with, I'm paddling like this, and what I'm doing with the guys is I'm calling a shorter, faster stroke up the slope. And then you lighten on the back. Shorter slope up, down. Shorter up, down, and stretch up. We did that all the way up. And then when we came back, we made the mark to come back down. I mean, when you come down, it's all surfing. So that's when you're surfing, that's another whole different ballgame there. It's speed, direction, and timing. Timing when to call the bump, speed to get on the bump, and direction means you can't be sliding off like this and trying to catch a bump that's going. Okay, set it up perpendicular, bound. I mean, on the bay is a little bit different here. You get these big monsters out here sometimes. On the bay is all this short choppy stuff, and you're coming from all over the place. So and it's challenging and it's fun because what I do there on the bay is different than what I do here. I slide in between waves. I practice with the crew to slide in between. So everything we're dealing with wind chops and everything. So everything's coming this way, coming out from the west. And so I want to go out a little bit here. So what I do is I just slide in between the bumps. Just slide in between, boom, boom. And you'll be surprised how fast that canoe can move, sliding in between the bumps. Because what happens is, you got this wave coming like this, and then you got a little bit of push coming across like that. So you jump in that crossing, and you feel you'll push you along until you get to where you want to turn down. And once you turn down, I set the canoe up. When I turn down, I'm watching what's happening. And when I set the canoe down, and the time comes when you set up and you go, now.
Right.
And they react, and they give you the power that you need to jump on the bumps. And it doesn't have to be, like, bang, bang, just ranking away. It has to be deliberate strokes and power strokes, like boom, boom, boom. And they'll just pick the canoe up. And my job is to set it up so that, we're in the right position. The crew's job is to get on it. Okay. Don't think you're going to get I paddle. When we set up, so I set up early so that I can paddle to help get on the bump. But your job is just to set it up and let the crew get you on the bump. So as far as the stroke, I pretty much forward stroke once in a while because I was paddle steering most of the time going up north. That is north, right?
Actually northwest.
Oh, northwest, going up to the top mark. Yeah. It's once in a while you'll see, what I do I just found this stroke. I just learned this stroke just last year.
It's called a pitch stroke.
No. Maybe it is. But I didn't put a name to it. But I did. I'm doing this reverse stroke.
Like a J.
Like a J. So what I'm doing there is I'm pulling instead of poking. I'm on the left side. So I'm doing this stroke here, and I pull the canoe to the right. So it's one of these strokes like this. So, and if you're in back of me, you'll just see my paddle going around.
I saw it this morning.
Just going around in circles like this, and that's what I'm doing there. It's just like coming around like this, boom, 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 and it just pulls me up to. And I do that on the right too. Now that let's go back to that saved up thing. Now that I can do that, then now I know the crew can do that. I can paddle a lot more on the right. I'm not afraid. Before I used to paddle like 95%
on the left.
On the left, and maybe 5% on the right, because I was afraid that the canoe was going over it. I was responsible. That I don't want the canoe to hula. So if I do that, the canoe's going to hula. But El Ching set me straight about that. It's not your job to save the canoe. It's the crew's job. You cannot save the canoe. And ever since he told me that about 3 or 4 years ago, that's my belief. And you know what? I'm sticking to it. And you know what? It works.
There you go.
It works.
But that's all about the communication in the canoe, right?
And working on it so that the crew knows what they need to do. And I don't think you work with the ladies or the men. If you work, either way. It's just that you just got to be in tune with each other. But I think you got to practice it. You got to practice it. And so we got to the point where we could do that, where we can fly the armor. Once you get to that point where you can fly the armor in the 6-man, when you get on a bump or something like that, then you're comfortable with it. Okay, so we do that after every practice, just for show that we can do it.
So one more question. So there's another aspect of steering and stroke, but it's also about the ami, like you just said. Your okole can move left, right, center as a steersperson. And Josh Banfield told me this. That's how I learned it. He goes, use your okole. If you're paddling on the right, put your butt to the left. And so how much can you influence the canoe by doing that as a steersperson?
I don't tend to move my butt around that much.
I'm light, remember. So I move and there's room. I got plenty of room where I can see 6, so I move around a lot.
You know what? Yeah, I see what you're saying, Ali, because smaller guys, smaller ladies, they got this big space around. They got to move around. Especially you put a small, like the ladies, you put them in seat 3 and 4. Girl.
Yeah, so like jumbo.
Let me tell you how to do that. If I'm sitting in 3 or 4, because it's the wide seat. Okay, I know the hot's coming up because sometimes you program. As a student, I always count strokes. I count strokes, no matter if I'm in seat 1 or in seat 6, wherever I'm always counting the strokes. So I know when we're going to change. Right? And you pretty much, you're going to change on 12s, 14s, whatever like that. So and some crews call hot hoe, some crews call hot hoe. When I paddle with my Molokai crew, they call hot hoe. So I have to reprogram my mind every time I go out on a one man and I go hot hoe, hot hoe. So what was I going to
Scooting.
Okay, so what I do is, it works better with the hot hoe because you have time. So I'm already, hot. Do I know that? Over here. Hot, ho, and now I'm here. Okay? But it's not that drastic, because you don't have to move that. But I'm anticipating that I'm going to have to move over. So I want to be on the first stroke. I always want to catch the first stroke. And I know today I was hammering about the first stroke because we get lazy on the changeover, and we tend to just come over and just plan on wherever we come over. We're right here, take a half a stroke and catch up on the second stroke. And I'm all about coming over and planning up front. And so I want to be ready when I cross over from the right side to the left side or left side to the right. I want to be in position so that when I hit that, that side, that first stroke, it's where I should be. It should be, every time it should be exactly where I want to be. So, as far as you moving your hips, if you think you need to, I mean, today when I was sitting in that rally, oh my God.
Tight.
Holy mackerel, that rally
Was tight,
like,
huh?
it was squeezing me.
Not for me.
I was like, oh my God. I mean, I've never been in a canoe that tight. But yeah, I mean, I was not moving. I was not moving at all. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can do, I mean, you know, it's up to you. I mean, you can play with that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't, the conscious of me.
Well, I'm just small, you know, because I'm short, I'm light, and so I got room. I don't have a whole lot of hip space, so I'm doing whatever I can to.
Well, no, I mean, if you need
know,
to get yourself tight against the gunnel on either side, then you need to do that. I mean, if that's going to make you an efficient steersman paddler, then you need to do that. And then we can go, well, since we're talking about that too, foot plant.
Ah.
You know, oh, I like that bottom. Oh, the bottom is nice. Nice.
That's good.
Nice bottom.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
God, that's great. Yeah, that's a good one.
On the Mirage.
You want to come and work it out both?
Exactly.
No, that was really nice. You know, the gripping on the floor was really nice. And when you have that,
Yeah.
utilize it. I mean,
Grip.
utilize pressure on your feet. Utilize your legs to push off. Because they're only going to help you generate more power into the stroke. Because then you got your leg, you know, you like position here, and you just catch, and then, you know, it's like, bam! No, that works great. So utilize that, you guys. Keep that in mind when you're in the paddling. It's not all about the arms up here, you're paddling, you're short. No, it's your legs.
Long muscles.
Utilize your legs. Especially, you know, when you get, I mean, any race, whether you're doing sprints or long distance, you know, utilize your legs. Please, utilize your legs. It'll save you. It'll save you. And it'll actually help you with stroke. As far as me, as far as stroke, I mean, sometimes I tuck this left leg underneath and I leave him there, paddling on the left and the right. And then other times I'll just put both feet in front and paddle that way. And I just mix it up because sometimes I get cramps right down in here.
Yep.
So to avoid that, I keep moving. Come on in. Come on in. Yes. Bars open like that. It's happy hour and not yet. The leg position. I mean, you need to put, as a student, you need to use your legs too, push up. But I keep alternating my legs around so that it doesn't stay stale in one place and then I start getting cramps.
That's what I do. I just get locked because I don't want to hoolie, so my left leg is always out front. It's always locked. And this is always tucked underneath the seat.
And you don't rotate them?
I'm a.
Can you walk?
Well, that's when we get out of the canoe. I'm pretty tight, right? So I'm just so concentrating on keeping the weight on the left side, and when I paddle on the right, I can get, because I can get the paddle perpendicular over the gunnel, and I like the power on the right side, but I'm telling you, my left leg is planted solid. It's like, bam. And like Roman Crystal, he's like one of the guys. He likes to do it opposite. Yeah. He likes to drive opposite leg because he's a K1 paddler.
Yeah, I do both. I drive off opposite legs and I drive on. So my left leg, on my left side, I drive off, and then sometimes I'll just alternate. I'll just keep my right leg out there and just tuck my left leg underneath and just drive off my right leg.
If I get crampy, then I'll just stick both legs out and just plant, like that. But
I mean, if you're in a queue for a long time,
yeah,
what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're going to feel that. I mean,
you're going to cramp.
When it comes down to, like me, I need to take in a lot of salt before I race because I perspire like crazy. And so I lose a lot of salt. And so I can cramp. So I take electrolyte capsules and fizz stuff in my drinks so that it can replenish the salt in my body. And that's helped me in the last, especially when it's hot, if you're going to do Lily Okalani or even Monterey last year where it's really hot.
It was calm.
So you need to do that, or else you're going to cramp up, and then you're lost for the crew. Any other questions?
I got one more question.
Okay.
And I think you already answered it, but I want to do a sanity check with this. The primary purpose of the steersperson is to keep the canoe in control and online. And as much as you want to paddle, and everybody says, three strokes, 3 pokes, whatever, but sometimes I just feel like I'm just telling myself, the canoe really is pulling right today. And then when I turn downwind, I'm going, wow, now it's pulling left today. So it's like, it's all a matter of anticipating the canoe moving. So, and you want to be able to paddle, right? So you're poking, and I just feel like if I spend all my time poking, I would much rather want to paddle with the crew, right? And so it's overcoming that enthusiasm to want to, forward stroke.
You're controlling the canoe.
Instead of controlling the canoe.
But you're controlling the canoe.
Yeah.
Which is what you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing, controlling the canoe. I mean, if you can sneak in a few strokes here and there while doing book, then it's fine. I mean, you don't have to stay out there and paddle. Like if you're doing it, the crew's doing 14 strokes, you don't have to sit out there and paddle 14 strokes. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can paddle more. Sometimes I can paddle more than 14 strokes. But you don't have to. Your job is to maintain the boat's position on the course.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the main factor there, is the positioning of the canoe on the course. And then sneaking in whenever you can. It doesn't interfere with the crew and your position, your line. So think of that for if you think, oh man, I wish I could paddle more.
Yeah.
And sometimes conditions will dictate exactly. I mean, there's sometimes in conditions. I mean, I saw a video of me, I'm sitting over there, I'm counting, and I was counting strokes. And I got the 10th stroke and I hadn't taken one dang stroke. I'm going, what the heck? And I'm thinking I'm paddling maybe, I'll sit out maybe, 2 or 3 strokes, and here I am sitting out 10 strokes before I took a stroke. So I mean, and then I started looking at it and said, well, maybe the conditions or whatever I was doing dictated what I was, why I was sitting there. Just, maybe I had a senior moment of thinking about something.
You were enjoying yourself.
That's hard as a steersperson, because you really want to paddle. I mean, as a steersperson, you really want to help the crew. But at the same time, if you lose focus of keeping the line, especially in a race, I mean, whether it's a distance, especially in a sprint race, if you lose your line, you're in trouble.
Yeah, no, and you know what? The thing, okay, I'll go back. Now, I'm talking about a strong crew and a weak crew. Which crew do you think is the easiest one to steer?
Weak crew.
Stay strong.
Speed.
The weak crew. I can manhandle a weak crew all day. All day long, I can handle a weak manhandle. I don't even have to poke once. But a strong crew,
Yeah.
they're dangerous.
Yep.
They're dangerous. You got your job caught up to you because they're going so hard and so fast. They'll pull the boat right away. So you need to be aware of that. If you got a strong crew in front of you, you need to be aware of that, and you need to position yourself. That's why off the start line, my crew gets off the line really strong. So I position the canoe. When I come up to a start line, I position the crew so that I'm in the right position where I can paddle right off the bat. And remember this, as a steersperson, you don't want to be poking off the start. Don't even see me. I don't want to see you guys poking off the start. You set yourself up so that you paddle off that line. And you paddle hard up the line. Because that's the fastest you're going to go. That's the fastest that crew's going to go, off the start line. Just get to bust out there, and you want to be paddling. You don't want to be sitting back there, You'll get going, and then all of a sudden you'll see the canoe react, and then you're going to have to. So, but you got to anticipate that and react right away. Because if you're slow to react, then what's going to happen? You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it. And if you catch it early enough, you don't have to stay there long. The thing is, when you poke, is not to stay there long, unless you need to. But in a sprint situation on the lake, it's kind of calm. You get it in. If you have to put it in, you get it in, you get it out, and you start to paddle. Okay. Pie chart. I don't know if you ever went over with this, the group, about the pie chart. I mean, on the bay, well, anywhere, it's crucial. I mean, because the water flows. I mean, in the bay, it can drop 7 feet, rise 7 feet, and the flow out the gate is treacherous. I mean, it just runs like a river. So it's important for us on the bay to make sure we read the tide chart and we know how fast the current's running, and paddle according to the current. And I mean, I'm not gonna run with an ebb tide on a start and then have to fight that ebb tide coming back. I'm always going in the if it's ebbing, when I come out of Alameda, if it's ebbing, I'm heading towards Oakland Airport because all the water is coming from the south bay, moving out towards the gate. So we paddle towards the south and then turn around and ride it back. The only time I will go in the opposite direction, if winds are blowing at 20, 25, and we got a good bomb coming up, and I will definitely run down so that you can surf. And that's all we really want to do. You know, you're playing with your one man, you want to surf. So, but get familiar with the tide chart. I mean, you could pull it up on your dang phone. I mean, you can get an app on this phone, and you can get a tide chart, and you can punch in anywhere anywhere in the world. I mean, anywhere you paddle. When I go to Molokai, I got Molokai on. I got the Kaiwi Channel on. When I'm on Oahu, if I'm down in Waianae, I got Waianae. And I know exactly what the tide differential in Hawaii is a lot different
Smaller,
than over here. It's smaller, but they still have some good currents there.
Oh, yeah.
Still have some really good currents. I mean, our tidal is a lot bigger. And as you get more up to the Pacific Northwest, it gets even worse. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's crazy up there. So, I mean, get familiar with the tide charts, and so you know exactly what's going on. And that'll help you exactly in positioning. I mean, you know, if you can play the tide, I mean, you can be paddling over there and go on one speed, and you just move over to over here, and you go on another speed. So, I mean, not everybody wears a GPS on their wrist or on the canoe. So you got all this technology that tells you how fast you're going, how far you're going, how many calories you're burning, and if you're in the right position on the water to help you, whether you're, here 100 yards here, 100 yards there, or whatever, it'll help you. Whether you find you going through the eddies, to get through the currents or whatever like that. So that'll help you in the positioning of where you're going in a race. I mean, especially on the bay. When you guys come up and race in the bay, I mean, you need to know that stuff. You need to know that stuff.
Angel Island.
It's just gonna, Angel Island.
Classic
Berkeley.
race.
Berkeley is crazy sometimes.